The former cryptocurrency tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried is due to be sentenced in the US today following his conviction in one of the biggest financial fraud cases in history. The 32-year-old founder of collapsed crypto exchange FTX could now face decades in prison. Our cyber correspondent Joe Tidy was the last person to interview Bankman-Fried before he was arrested in December 2022. He reports on the rise and downfall of the man behind one of the biggest financial crimes in US history.
One interesting thing that's been happening pretty recently is that the BitMEX Bitcoin perpetual futures ran up a lot in price.
This was Sam Bankman-Fried in his element, at his desk, talking crypto and making incredible profits. His hair and shabby look were all part of the appeal and brand. SBF, as he was known by a legion of fans online, portrayed himself as a maths genius who wasn't interested in personal wealth. It was all about developing the cryptocurrency industry and giving to charities.
This is big.
But FTX, his cryptocurrency exchange that sold Bitcoin and other virtual currencies for normal money, like pounds and dollars, grew to be the centrepiece of a sprawling business worth $32 billion. So, when it all came crashing down in December 2022, more than 1 million customers were left out of pocket. In a high-profile trial in New York in November, he was convicted of 7 counts, including fraud and money laundering.
Sam Bankman-Fried perpetrated one of the biggest financial frauds in American history, a multi-billion-dollar scheme designed to make him the king of crypto. But here's the thing. The cryptocurrency industry might be new. The players like Sam Bankman-Fried might be new. But this kind of fraud, this kind of corruption is as old as time, and we have no patience for it.
The court case saw his former staff and even his girlfriend testify against him. His chief crime was that he illegally used customer deposits from FTX to fund his other business. Prosecutors are asking the judge to sentence him to 50 years in prison, but his defence team want around 5 years. They argue that most of the billions of dollars Bankman-Fried lost have now been recovered, but critics say he shows no remorse. In an interview in his luxury apartment complex in the Bahamas, just before he was arrested, he admitted to making mistakes but claimed it wasn't deliberate.
Were you incompetent or were you fraudulent?
I didn't knowingly commit fraud. I don't think I committed fraud. I didn't want any of this to happen. I was certainly not nearly as competent as I thought I was.
But a convicted criminal he now is, and it's up to a judge to decide how long he'll be behind bars for one of the biggest financial crimes in US history. Joe Tidy, BBC News.
Earlier, I was joined by technology author and commentator Stephanie Hare. She told me about the prison sentence he's likely to face.
Well, his lawyers would like a handful of years, 5 to 6, and US prosecutors are calling for about 50. So we'll probably see something around, I think 25 could be a reasonable guess at this stage.
And do you think, what do you think about the verdict that was handed down to him? Did that seem fair?
Oh, for sure. This is an egregious crime, and the commentator that was just talking before absolutely had it spot on. There's nothing new about money laundering and fraud. It's one of the oldest things in law, and they have to throw the book at him to make an example for the rest of the world because cryptocurrency is still highly unregulated.
And how much damage has he done, do you think, to the whole idea of cryptocurrency or the brand of it?
Well, he maybe has done a great public service in showing that this is, in many ways, a Ponzi scheme. Totally unregulated. There's a reason central banks are not going near it yet. And really, it's a great thing for when people say that regulation would hamper technological innovation. This shows what happens when you don't regulate. People can't have confidence.
It's interesting, though, that after it happened, cryptocurrency seemed to fall in value and people seemed to lose confidence. But in the meantime, it's gone shooting back up. So do you think people have just forgotten, or why do you think that is?
Because we're living in a very frothy time with regards to both artificial intelligence assets and cryptocurrencies. It's a rise and fall, boom and bust cycle. We're just waiting for the next bust.